You travelled with your family, didn't you? You went to America.
Yeah, we went to.
How was
Houston,
that
Texas.
moving away?
So that was a move with that company, Aviva. I had worked as a consultant for a company in Derry called 8/8. They were looking to get sold, and I helped them with sales and reconfigure sales and helped them with service and helped them get ready for sale. And then the company was bought. It was bought by Aviva, and the CEO of the company, 8/8, Claire Colhoun, who's another person in my life.
How much was are you able to discuss figures?
Yeah, it's public information. It was, I want to remember, either 26 and a half or 28.5 million.
Okay, so big sale.
Big sale. So Claire's a woman I, professionally and personally respect massively. Right? Great person, great business insight. But Claire had introduced me then to the CEO of Aviva, and I had thought at that time I had just exited another small business in Letterkenny, which had sold part of, and had a little bit of financial freedom, not a lot, but I thought we had the 4 kids, and my daughter was just a baby at the time, and I thought I'd love to go somewhere for a year, just take a year out. Anyway, that transpired into Claire telling the CEO of Aviva that this guy is a great guy, you should hire him, but he wants to go somewhere. So he came to me and said, how do you fancy going to Houston, Texas? He says, we could really do, the sales team for the United States could really do a kick in the backside. If you want to go out there, be sales director, run that. So I said, let me talk to my wife. That was funny because that was the last week in January 2015. And I said, when do you want me to go? And he says, 1st of March. And, February's a short month, so it was like 4.5 weeks. And I'm like, dude, I have 4 young kids, but let me talk to my wife, right? So I come in that night, get in with some dinner, got the kids to bed. I said to Shannon, I need to talk to you about work. And she said, let's open a bottle of wine. So we opened a bottle of wine and we sat down and she said, what's up? And literally this is how the conversation was. I says, that company Aviva bought 8/8. The CEO asked me would I be considered a job in America. She goes, really? Where in America? And I says, Houston, Texas. And she goes, when does he want you to go? All of us go. I said, well, he wants me to go on the 1st of March. Shannon looked at me and went, is it hot there? I says, it is. And she goes, let's go. And that was it. It was literally it was actually that short a conversation. I was like, really? And she goes, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. So I went in the next morning and I says, I'm in. Sign me up. So I went on the 1st of March and the family came on the 9th of July. So it was our anniversary yesterday. We went out there 2015 and coincidentally came back in 2020. We were there for 5 years. Came back on the same day, but that was coincidental. But
what's life like out there? Because I don't imagine there's much Irish in Texas.
There's not.
I'm sure there are, but it must be small.
There's not really, and that honestly suited me at the time, right? I didn't want to go to an Irish community. I wanted to get away from Ireland. I wanted my wife and my kids to experience somewhere different from Ireland. So that job, had it been in Boston, I wouldn't have been interested really at all, right? So we went to Houston, Texas. Knew nobody at all. There was one Irish person, Bernadette McWilliams, who we didn't really know. I know her family very well, and we have a family connection, but I didn't know Bernadette. I met her probably for the first time in Houston. She's the only person from Buncrana, only person from Ireland I knew in Houston at that time. So we just went. It was us. It was the best thing we've ever done, because when you get away from family, just not my family, all pretty much live abroad. Most of Shannon's family are at home, but when you get away from family, and my mum was still around then, which was a tough move, but leaving her. But in any case, we very quickly realised, right, that it's just us. It's just me, Shannon, and our 4 babies, and that's our wee group. So with that move, there was two parts to our time in Texas for me. There was my professional career and there was my family experience there. So we very quickly formed this wee group ourselves, and we became very supportive of each other, which was awesome. We did amazing stuff. We road tripped to every state when we were there. We really, used the full advantage of being away from a family perspective. While 5 years in the States was awesome. It was the best move ever we made. Tough. It was tough coming back.
What brought you back?
Work. So same company, Aviva. So when I was there, I went out as sales director for the oil and gas vertical for the United States, and then Then a year I was running all the industries for the United States. Within 2 years I was running sales for North America, including Canada. In 3 years I was running sales for the whole of Americas. Did that for a couple of years then, and then they asked me to move in then to become global vice president, running one of the business units globally. So I did that, and then in 2019 they said, look, they were headquartered in Cambridge in the UK, and this is pre-COVID. That was the centre of the world for that business. He says, look, makes more sense for you to be back in Cambridge. So I agreed to move back. The plan was to go to Cambridge, but we hadn't fully final. It was like move home and then see about what do we do about Cambridge, or do a commute? Do we all move? What do we do? So we put our house on the market in February 2020, and 4 weeks later, shutdown happened.
Mm.
So that was an experience. Like, from my world changed dramatically. I went from flying literally all over the world, like transatlantic, trans-Pacific flights almost every week. Flying up and down, North America, South America, and all sorts of things in between. I went from being sitting at a desk, from that, looking at the customer in the eye, that stuff I talked about earlier on, that emotional intelligence, and shaking somebody's hand, doing the deal. I went from that to be sitting at a desk, literally jumping Teams call to Teams call to Teams call. And because my role was global, you digitally, you make yourself far more accessible. So then you didn't have to schedule a meeting. It was just Lee's on Teams, call him, right? So, and then just I had from 2020 to 2023 until I finished. I was with that business 7 years. They were the 3 most horrific years, right? Because I found it very, very difficult to deal with.
To be working from a desk,
Yeah.
not being able
Just
to.
call to call to call to call, and I felt we had lost our capability to make decisions. We had lost our capability to properly manage the business, and I got very quickly to a point where, like, this is just a call for the sake of a call. It became very, very frustrating for me. There was that 3 year period, 2020, and the first year of COVID wasn't too bad because it was new and you were getting used to it, and you didn't know. It was kind of, we're just dealing with something. The second year was horrific, right? I just thought, this is the world has changed. I accepted at that point, and I don't want to do this anymore. And then I started thinking, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. I'm an entrepreneur. My thing is, starting or contributing or investing to a business, shaping the business up, making the business better, and then, either getting paid for that work, or selling my investment, or selling the business, or moving on from that. And I had allowed myself to get caught up in this big, massive corporate machine. Like, when I joined Aviva, the revenue was 250 million annual recurring revenue. When we had finished, it was 1.6 billion. Right? So the business went through huge growth.
Why did you go? Because you had your own business, and I know you won an award, and you sold that business, did you?
Yeah, so I won Young Entrepreneur of the Year.
Yeah.
So it was me and another guy, Barry Harper. Barry had started the business originally, and then I was employee number 1. So together, we grew that business, and then there's an opportunity to sell the business to a UK company. So
What
I
was
had
the
exited.
business?
So a company called Envolve. It was a software company, does learning management, connected worker software for manufacturing industries. So where you have workers that aren't digitally connected, so they don't come in and sit down at a desk at a computer. They're on a manufacturing line. So we had developed this mobile app, and where they could do like training, compliance, regulatory training. They could be digitally connected to the organization without having to sit at a laptop, or do stuff after work or out of work, or go to a training center.